Last time on the Nintendo Everything podcast.
Oni, I need to leave.
Leave? But where?
I need to go on a plane.
But Galen, the coronavirus!
I have to. My family. My friends.
But Galen, there's a self-quarantine in order. The infection rates are higher than they've ever been in the United States.
Damn the infection rates. If I move quickly and stay smart, I'll be safe. I've been training for this for years.
But they're out there. It's disgusting. They're filled with hatred. The Americans.
It's for America that I'm going. The freedom.
You think you're invincible? Well, guess what? We're not invincible, okay? We're all susceptible to the coronavirus.
The strength of my friend and my family will get me through this.
You think you have strength? Strength and family? Friends? Those words mean nothing to me.
Mary, grab your bags!
Such insolence!
My family.
No, Galen, don't!
Wait, what? Ah!
As I expected.
So I said,
You don't know what you're talking about.
Friends?
I need to take that risk. My friends. My family.
Mary, don't listen to him!
I have to. Oni? Oni?
Galen!
Oni!
He lived his life a fool. He died a fool. Hello, my lovely toads, and toads. Friends, thank you for joining us today on the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 87. My name is Oni Dino, and with me I have a toad living in Toad Town, but he's been turned into an origami. That origami is a bear. I call him... What? I can't even think of like a bear joke. What do bears do? Oh, I call him the Hibernator. It's Galen.
Sometimes you need to know when to hold them, and sometimes you need to know when to fold them. I'm going off of the origami aspect of this.
You know, there's a joke in there somewhere. It wasn't presented properly.
No, it wasn't.
But you've got a solid hour or so to rework it if you'd like.
I blame the setup, personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, that's what a bad carpenter would do. He would blame his tools.
And you are the biggest tool that I have in my arsenal.
Bitch, I'm Jesus, okay?
Your hair is long enough for that.
It is, yeah. Oh, split ends, though. I'm actually gonna cut my hair. Okay, aping off of the beginning of our set here, the coronavirus is in full swing in America. It's the worst that it's ever been. I can't believe I'm in this country. So I was like, oh man, maybe now I can, schedule a haircut just to trim these split ends. But it's worse than it's ever been. So
yeah,
I'm cutting my own hair, it turns out.
I took the risk and I got a haircut before I left on my trip, so we'll see what happens.
You're
yeah.
infectious right now. So you stay the hell away from me, okay? We are states apart. We are time zones apart, which is perfect because time zones keep out coronavirus.
How exactly do you social distance on a podcast? Exactly.
I can't get enough distance from you.
That's true. You've been trying for years, so. Speaking of which, slight disclosure, I am recording off location for my regular stuff, so I apologize if I sound a little bit different than normal. So.
Or if he sounds a little bit better.
You know what? If I do sound better, let me know.
So, friends, we're a weekly show. Episodes go live every Sunday, bright and early, blah, blah, blah. We're on all the podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, you name it, we're there. Please take a moment to leave us a rating on your podcast listening platform of choice. Galen, what's the best way to support our show?
Definitely leaving those ratings, preferably on iTunes.
iTunes is a big platform for us, one of our biggest, in fact, and leaving a rating helps us get recommended through the algorithm gods. So that is the best way you can support us. Please do so. You can do it while you're listening to us.
Yeah. But you know what? Regardless of how you're listening to us, we appreciate your ears.
Galen has a fetish, and he just divulged that.
I guess so.
Friends, thank you for listening. I will do nothing to your ears. Let's talk about video games.
It's going to be one of those episodes.
So, Galen, on Twitter, sometimes you twat.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying those words right? Tell me about it.
You can follow my tweets on Twitter at Mobius087 if you want to see what I am chattering about.
Oh my god, Galen, that sucks.
All right, show me how what do you call that? Sponsorship? Segue?
Galen, crashing and burning over there. Did you catch the coronavirus?
It's been a weird week for me.
How embarrassing. You can listen to You can read. Oh god, you infected me. Intervention. He infected me with the coronavirus through this podcast. Over on my Twitter.
Oni Dino.
At Oni_Dino. I'm talking about video games. I'm posting video game stuff. I'm talking about translation stuff. Come chill. Come chat. Love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, Galen, there was a gigantic event in video gaming this past week. Gigantic.
Oh, are you talking about the latest character to the Smash Bros. Roster?
The only game you need to play. Tell me about it.
So I have actually gone ahead and downloaded the new season pass, or the new fighter pass. So I'll be getting all of them as they come around. This month, this week, this time, we are being exposed to the ramen royalty herself, Min Min from ARMS. And I have to say that playing as her is truly delectable.
Ta ai la mian.
At first, I was really worried that, her basic 1-2 punch combo would just leave a bland taste in my mouth. But once I got past my own salty attitude, I really discovered that there's a rich and flavorful experience to be had here.
I hate this. I hate every moment of it.
For those who don't know, her main quirk is her signature arms attack that make up the majority stock of her attacks. While there are some slight variations on the speed and trajectory of her moves, initial predictability is about as exciting as a wet noodle. It's the second attack that she has on there that really lets you season her moveset.
Galen, this is incredibly painful.
Hey, I'm just saying, with your options of attacking again, higher, lower, even behind you, it gives you a lot of reactive versatility that often just leaves your opponent with egg on their face. I really
Absolutely painful. Like, I'm gonna find a pen and stab it in my eye.
I especially think this is true when you're on the offensive, because when your opponent is hanging off the edge, like, do they jump? Do they roll past you? Do they climb up? You have enough range to your attack that it eliminates their ability to attack you on the way up. And as long as you let them make the first move and then you attack afterwards, you can counter like almost anything that they do. It's being on the receiving end of that can really make one's broth boil. So,
Oh my god, I can always tell when at the very end of something you're gonna say is gonna be one of those horrible puns, because I can hear the tone in your voice change throughout the entire thing.
yeah. All right, I'll pull back on the ramen puns here. Honestly, she's a pretty fun character to play as.
I hear that she changes up the dynamic quite a bit.
Yeah, she really does. I really didn't think that whole 1-2 punch thing was going to be that like effective, and if you're just trying to mash both of them at the same time, it doesn't work. It really is, you need patience with this.
You're not a very patient person, though.
Playing as her, I definitely learned what kind of patience is needed to make the character work.
Expand on that.
It's really just like, okay, you move the attack forward. Are they going to dodge out of the attack? Are they jumping out of the way? Are they moving backwards? As soon as you put that second attack forward, you're stuck in place for a little while. You can still move a little bit, but you're really committing to the action. So
Okay.
you really want to, kind of read the room a little bit. I feel like from the little bit that I have played, it is a good interpretation of the ARMS franchise and what you're doing in that game. So I'm happy to see it translated over well.
Have you been playing a lot of one-on-one matches? I have a feeling that Min Min doesn't shine in one-on-ones.
I have actually. I've only been playing in one-on-ones. I haven't been playing any group matches.
Okay.
I played a couple of basic Smash rounds, nothing too fantastical, just one-on-one matches against a computer. I've also gone through and done all of her Spirit Quest stuff. I have not played Adventure Mode just yet. That is still on my list of things to do.
Okay.
No, I kind of like her as a character, though. She's very different, and different in a good way.
An ultimate addition to Super Smash Bros. Min Min.
Mm-hmm.
You have sounds coming out of your computer.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened. Ah, that's how it happened. Okay.
You
There
should
will not
have,
be sounds out of my computer.
yeah, you should have all of your sounds from your computer going to your earphones through your mic.
Yeah. No, I changed it. You're good.
Okay. You mean you're good? Or are you? Or are you?
No, I might have some more impressions on Min Min a little bit later, but honestly, she's a fine character. I would recommend. I'm not sure that I would say, hey, she's worth buying the entire pack for, but if you want a different experience, I think she's a solid enough purchase to lay down the, $6-7 it is just for a single character in Smash.
6.
Yeah, I think so.
And it comes with their stage and music as well.
Oh, and the music is right on. It is so fitting with these games. Like,
Yeah,
I
ARMS music is actually like very, very nice.
It's really good. Yeah. But that is what I have been reaching for my adventure log. Oni, what have you
Jesus
been playing?
Christ. So I've been pretty busy with work this week. Haven't gotten in a bunch of gaming. Been playing more Xenoblade, of course.
Okay. Have you found that it is a good... Is it an escape for you to be able to be like, hey, I'm going to lay down and just tune out? Or is it a quick, I have like 10-15 minutes, I'll just get in some time here?
Honestly, the gameplay and like so many different things that you do in that game is so versatile that it's all of the above. It's something I can be like, all right, I'm going to sit down and play this for a couple of hours. Or let's turn this on for a little bit and do a little bit of questing. And I'm having such a good time because they've done a really good job with the quality of life features. Having such a good time doing all of the quests, raising the affinity in the respective areas of the world. So maybe I should explain that a bit. There's 5 areas of the world where all of these people live, and all of the main people, you know their relationships and their relationships with other NPCs in their respective areas, or sometimes over in different villages, and they have quests depending on their affinity with other characters. So like, for example, there's this one character named Emmy, and she wants to raise up her ranks in the defense force that she's in. So then all of the characters that she's related to affinity wise, she'll have quests with them, and their stuff will change based on that. And solving quests will usually lead to increasing your affinity with the entire town. Sometimes it decreases it, but that's pretty rare. But overall, you're working toward making everybody happy. When the affinity levels increase, then you can get new items to trade from them and new quests, which lead to better items and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So they've done a really good job with a bunch of quality of life features. So I've been doing that. There's a colony called Colony 6 that you're rebuilding, and you're bringing people into from other towns that aren't happy with their current town. And there's just so much to do in that game that is completely optional. You can just play through the story and like be done with it. But yeah, I'm having a great time just micromanaging a whole bunch of stuff. I love hoarding my items and maxing out on this and that. Number go big. So much fun.
That village populating thing you were just talking about, it gave me clues of the original Dark Cloud.
Yeah. This one's way more different than that, but
yeah, I assumed it would be. So this seems like an extra mechanic that is kind of like put into the game, where Dark Cloud, that whole town building mechanic, is very much a core part of the game itself. So
yeah, and I mean, so Colony 6, when you're bringing in a whole bunch of different people, that's when you really get to learn about these characters so much more, these NPCs, because you learn why they're not happy with their current town, and then you bring them over and they're like, okay, I need this, or like, I'm unhappy about this. And it's always like quests related to other NPCs in the game. So for example, there's Nopon in the game. They're like the little round furball guys.
Okay.
And they speak a little bit funny. Some of them are like really smart messengers, merchants. And
okay.
Some of them are scientists. Some of them are just like little kids kind of thing. And there's this one character named Berry Jammy, and you have to feed her some medicine because she's like sick for whatever reason. And she doesn't want to drink it because it's, she's like, Mama, it's medicine, gross, bad. And then you finally coax her into trying it by, getting it made by one of the other Nopon in the town. And then she's like, fine, I'll try it. And then she's like, oh, I love this medicine. And then she starts overdosing on the medicine, and she's taking it too much.
Oh, no.
And then there's a split off. You have this one quest, and it's like, okay, you can either do route A or route B. And there's so many quests that are like that, and they don't really affect things too much. They affect like what you would do in the game, just for your own personal sake. Like, okay, well, in my personality, I would probably do this kind of thing. I think I talked about this maybe a couple of weeks ago when I talked about Xenoblade, how there's like multiple routes. And it's great that it's not like, okay, well, there one optimal route to definitely choose. It's good that it's like, no, both are fine. It's just, do you want to keep giving her medicine that she keeps overdosing on? Or do you want to make the medicine more bitter, and then, she'll have a different relationship with a different person, but then she'll be taking the medicine properly? Or like, who do you want to get together in a relationship? Do you think that this girl is better for this guy or this guy, and that kind of thing? It's just nice little introspective things that you can do as a gamer.
Now, can you use your time travel to find out what would be the best option?
No, you can't see visions like that. Sometimes visions are related to quests, though.
So, in terms of this game, you're still really feeling it.
I'm still really feeling it. Yes, Galen, you're the only person who's ever made that joke before.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, our spoiler cast is going to be just me making that joke over and over again.
I'm glad that you brought up the spoiler cast, because I definitely want to do a spoiler cast on this game in the near future when I beat it. I am so slow at playing video games, especially this one, because it's really pretty. It's really, really nice. I'm really appreciating all of the visual changes that they've made to the definitive edition.
Yeah.
It looks amazing all over the place. It's really cool how like just updated textures and a good lighting engine that has lighting, bouncing off colors, surface reflections on water. I've talked about this stuff before, but it's really amazing all of these little touches that they've done to create just a beautiful world and like the feeling of nature when you're in certain areas. It's really nice.
That's excellent. I'm excited to hear more about the game in its full glory as opposed to its condensed version that we have for the show.
Yeah, so in the spoiler cast, we'll be talking about the story and who the characters are and whatnot. Their motivations, which are surprisingly lacking. I love that like you can see the interactions between the characters and like how they feel about each other, and it's like super nice and it's great. I'm so glad that they focused on that. But as far as their motivations for like why they're in this story outside of like some of the main characters, I'm kind of like, wait, why is Ricky still with us? Wait, Ryan is just like a best friend. Why is he still here?
I've played a couple of RPGs where that's definitely been a thing.
Yeah, but that's okay though, because the storytelling otherwise is excellent, and there's so much foreshadowing that they do in the game, just because I've played the game already on the Wii, so I know the endings and stuff. And there's so much like gentle foreshadowing that they do throughout the game that I can really appreciate on my second playthrough.
Awesome.
So we'll chat about that more in future time. For now, let's rush on to the news. The news this week is pretty light in terms of stuff that's like worthy of discussing, so this is going to be a pretty quick episode, which is good though because Galen's on a bit of a vacation.
Yeah. I'm wearing my vacation shirt right now.
You're also wearing your vacation mask.
Yes, because that's apparently a thing that is needed now.
Which I support. You definitely have coronavirus.
I really hope I don't.
Well, I got the results of the test back. I definitely have coronavirus.
Wait, what?
You need to watch The Room, you fake moviegoer.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was way out there.
It was not way out there. You just don't know that damn movie. I've
only seen the
voice.
Okay, I have only seen the movie once, and I completely forgot
Strike
about the
number
whole
one, bitch.
mother. I have completely forgotten about the whole mother with breast cancer thing. But you made absolutely no reference whatsoever leading up to it, so...
It needs no reference. It's The Room. So are you saying that Claudette...
It 100% needs reference, because you changed the wording of the reference.
Are you saying that Claudette does not matter?
No! I'm saying that your impression of Claudette doesn't matter.
Galen, it matters a great deal.
Oh my god. Listeners, back me up on this, please.
No, you don't you even think about it.
No. I am starting a Twitter poll specifically on this question that will only make sense to people. Follow me at Mobius087 and let me know if what Oni just said made any sense whatsoever, or if you got that context.
You're not my f***ing mother!
Jeez. Danny, 3's a crowd. I watched The Disaster Artist not too long ago. That movie's really good.
I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I think James Franco is surprisingly good in it, and I usually don't like James Franco, but otherwise I was like, this isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And also, Dave Franco sucked in it. Welcome to the news portion of our Nintendo Everything podcast.
This is news, damn it.
You can stay connected by going to our website, because we got 24/7 news, nintendoeverything.com. That's where we're pulling the news from. There was a lot of like little stuff that happened this week, but just nothing that's like particularly discussion worthy. So do check out our website. To start off though, just want to have like a very, very brief sort of mention of something very serious that's happening.
One of the things that is discussion worthy.
Yeah. Well, and we're actually not really going to discuss it, though.
Yeah.
So throughout a whole bunch of media, it's not just video games. Video games is just like one of them that's also lumped in with all of these different areas. But there's a lot of allegations of sexual abuse that are coming out. And related to that, the president, or former president now, of EVO, the big fighting game tournament, Joey Culler, I'm not really sure how to say his name, he has been accused of sexual abuse. And EVO, as a company, reacted very quickly to this, and EVO is canceled this year, and not due to the coronavirus. So setting this up a bit, in the past week or so, there's been a big movement to speak out against sexual harassment and sexual predators. Lots of competitive Smash players and the Smash community as well have been accused. And there's a big Reddit thread that we've linked to on our website that shows, who's been accused and for what, and if they've had a response or anything like that. Just kind of keeping it very black and white there, because of course there's still allegations, but of course I want to bring this up because I want to applaud those who have spoken up. It's really awful, and I think that there's so much victim blaming that people who experience this abuse can often feel. They can feel helpless, unheard. So I just want to definitely say thank you so much to everybody speaking up.
No, absolutely.
And that's about it. I didn't really want to go into it too much, but just kind of keeping people informed.
Yeah, so I agree.
And for bystanders like ourselves, I will just give my personal advice. My personal advice is, of course, take the person who is affected by the sexual abuse seriously and listen to them.
Yes.
Even though it's still an allegation, you take that person seriously.
Yeah. I agree.
It's hard. Touchy subject. Don't want to say too much about it, but...
It really is.
Yeah. So, moving on with no segue, in all seriousness, let's talk about something a little bit lighter. Let's talk about some more info we got on Paper Mario, the Origami King. How do you say this word?
You know what? Let's just turn the page and go talk about Paper Mario.
I'm surprisingly having trouble with the word King, but not origami. So we heard some more info, mostly coming out of Game Informer. Apparently, the new Paper Mario is going to be an open world setup instead of being chapter-based or level-based like the previous two games, which is excellent.
Yes, I think that is a fantastic evolution of the series.
I'm always so hesitant when I hear games saying, oh, open world. I'm always like, oh god, please no, not all of this. It doesn't need to be so over-embellished, blah, blah, blah. But in this specific situation where they're not levels and they're not, selections on a menu kind of thing like the last two games were, I'm excited about that because that'll feel way more like the first two Paper Mario games.
Well, and I'm personally wondering if when they do talk about this being an open world-esque game, if they're referring more to something like Final Fantasy, where yes, there is a set world that you can travel to all these different parts of, but the story is going to take you at particular locations at a time. Or if this is going to be more Breath of the Wild, open world-esque, where, okay, here are all the places you need to go, but you can go in whatever order you want to.
Totally the former. If it were, I think that they're just trying to say you're going to be walking from place to place, basically like classic Paper Mario.
Yeah, because I feel like a couple of people have different interpretations of what open world actually means.
Yeah, and that's why I'm always like, ugh, open world. No, thank you.
Is there going to be a fast travel system?
Close the world. Close the picture book. How about that one?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm okay with a more structured storyline.
Yeah, definitely. For telling a narrative, yeah.
Yeah.
So for the battles, we heard a little bit. The producer, I think it was, he came up with the battle system when he was thinking about a Rubik's Cube. And you know how you take a cube and you move it and you twist it around and everything like that? That's kind of what
Yeah.
you do in the battles, because you stand in the middle, you have all of these rows around you, and you can move things in 2 different planes, an X and Y axis at least.
No, I'm really excited when this game comes out. Like 2 weeks from now, isn't it?
Yeah, super soon.
The battle system seems so unique. I can't think of anything that has been like this before, so I'm very excited to get my hands on it.
Yeah, and that goes into something we'll talk about in a second, but sticking on the battle system, apparently players have a set number of turns in the planning phase of a battle where they get to optimize positioning, and they can spend coins to purchase more time if they think that they're running low.
Yeah.
And toads will even give you battle hints if you pay them.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to be very coin focused.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that has always been one of the big hurdles of your traditional RPG styles is, yes, you, at the beginning of the game, you're accumulating all this gold or whatever currency is, but near the midpoint to the end point, what are you really doing with it? Because most of the really good equipment you're finding in dungeons versus buying in shops. And a lot of games kind of encourage this idea of, oh no, you want to save your potions, you want to save your items, so you're not needing to repurchase them.
I love hoarding my items.
Yep.
And
Future segue.
it's gonna be interesting to see what they do though with this battle system, because it looks like all signs are pointing toward not having experience points in this game. It looks like it's not going to be, traditional RPG in that manner. So I think it's going to be you beat enemies so you can get lots of coins because you're going to be spending them. But that was the biggest problem with the last 2 Paper Mario games, Sticker Star and Color Splash, where there was no incentive to battling. There was actually you were de-incentivized to battle because you would use stickers or cards to battle, and then you would lose them because you used them, and you weren't really getting anything from battle. So I'm hoping that they fix that, because that's honestly just a huge gameplay flaw, like a critical flaw. I can't believe that they've made 2 games like that.
Yeah, it's... when I think about the incentive to want to do battle, it needs to be engaging and a huge part of the game if you're going to be focusing that much on it.
And they make battles engaging with timed hits and stuff like that, and that's great. But there needs to be an end goal of why I do the battle, not just because it's fun.
No, absolutely.
And on that note, we also should bring up again that the boss battles are flipped. So the big boss battles that you get in, the boss is in the center of the stage because there's not multiple enemies that you're facing and you're not moving around the plains. You're actually on the plains and the boss is in the middle, and you need to find your way to the boss. And I'm so excited for that. I'm really actually excited for this battle system.
I love that they are treating the boss battles completely separately and almost, hey, solve this maze as opposed to solve this puzzle.
I love puzzles. And back to the open world setup thing, they said that there are huge maps that are designed so that there's always something in the player's field of view to catch their attention. So it's going to be an exciting map that you want to explore, which is great. I love exploring in video games.
No, there are
taking my time is so nice.
There are so many good signs that I've seen on this game. I'm very excited by it.
Yeah.
And it's a Nintendo game, so it's not like you have to wait to have it go on sale. So
oh yeah, because it ain't happening. That shit ain't happening. I've been waiting for the Link's Awakening to go on sale. Hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
Good God. And also, finding toads in the environments are... and the toads have also been turned into origami, so they're going to be hidden as dogs or as, whatever in the environment. When you find them, it's going to have various effects. So some of them will return to the Toad Town, and they'll restore services like selling items at a shop or opening up new areas or something like that. So it's going to have some depth to it.
Yeah, I love it when your collectathon within the game actually has merit, and it's more than just find your menu kind of fill up. Like,
Yeah,
it
it's
has
not
an
just an
active
achievement.
impact. Yeah. I definitely appreciate it when games do that.
One problem that I still have though is that, and I love toads. I've said this before. I love them, but
It is one of your go-to sound effects.
there needs to be more variety to the characters. Like, give more visual personality, because the personality and the writing will certainly be there, but there just needs to be a little bit more visual excitement. And same thing with the partners. Like, it's just a bomb. In terms of design, it's just a bomb. It's just a Magic Koopa. It's like, come on, make something cool, you know? And that's why it's weird, because those are usually areas that, like, Nintendo excels at. So it's like, why are they being so, like, intentionally basic on certain elements, you know? And I think that's what so many people feel frustrated about with Paper Mario. At least modern Paper Mario.
Well, this game's coming out soon, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it.
It'll be put in front of the firing squad very soon.
Yes.
The last thing we want to talk about with this is that the producer, Kensuke Tanabe, said that they want to deliver new experiences with Paper Mario instead of relying on old gameplay mechanics.
Yeah.
He also mentioned that, you know, they're bringing back the party members in this game. For what it sounds like is each stage or world, it's not going to be like, okay, you keep amassing party members and they keep joining you. It's going to be like, for story reasons, they come and go in the party. Which I'm cool with. That's totally cool.
Yeah, and it also it makes things more diverse throughout the entire game, because you're not limited to just like, I want this to be my party because I have the most options available to me with this party set. It's we're forcing that, we're taking options away but giving options to you. So
yeah, I like that. Like, as long as you design that appropriately with enemies, with level design, with story and writing, I'm all about being put on a path and being given the things to do.
yeah.
Because, like, I mean, for example, with like Xenoblade, you get 7 characters, and you don't have to have any specific one in your party maybe a handful amount of times, but otherwise you can completely ignore so many other characters. So you have to, like, sort of make yourself switch up your party and switch up your dynamic. And the producer, Tanabe, mentioned also that there is a chapter with Bowser Jr. in it as your partner. And he's, of course, trying to save his dad. And that specifically, I forgot who it was, requested him to write this for this new Paper Mario game. He wanted a child saving his dad kind of story in the game.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's all good, but there's also a little bit of, like, I think, bad in that maybe. It's basically just kind of sounding like they'll never go back to the 1,000-Year Door system exactly.
Style. Well, and we have talked before in the past on not really making comments on that they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do with the Paper Mario series. Because it keeps changing, it keeps evolving, and I feel like it almost is better that Paper Mario is their testing ground for possible new mechanics or new ways of approaching games in other franchises.
Yeah, I think the tough pill to swallow with that is just that that's not what it was before. It was it was a spiritual successor to Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
And it's just a tough pill for people to swallow when the battle mechanics and the partner system was so excellent in 1,000-Year Door. I've got my complaints with that game for sure, but when it comes to, you know, characters, like, that was so excellent. So that's what's so hard, and that's why people keep comparing it back to that. It's like, well, why isn't it like this, or why isn't it like that?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we just have to divorce our idea of 1,000-Year Door from Paper Mario, modern Paper Mario, moving forward.
No, 100%.
But then it's like, is that just a lesser version of it? You know what I mean? It's weird to do this to something already established.
It is weird to do that to something that's already established, but then again, there's not a number at the end of it. This isn't Paper Mario 2. This isn't Paper Mario 3. This is its own section title. I actually think a lot of what they've done with the Kingdom Hearts franchise. And the Kingdom Hearts franchise gets so much flack. You're giving me a weird face. I'm making a point here. I'm giving you
an existential waking nightmare face right now, because why would you point toward Kingdom Hearts in terms of what they've done correctly?
No. Kingdom Hearts has always been very interesting because the running joke is there's Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, 13 games in between, and then Kingdom Hearts 3.
There's games in between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 as well. It's very confusing, especially for the elderly like us.
True. However, if you also think about it, if you were to just look at Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, the gameplay that you're having between all those three are very identical and very similar. It is the outliers that they branch off to, the chain of memories, the 352 divided by 86, carry the X, whatever, where they took some different risks and they changed the way that the games actually play. Sometimes it's a card battling system. Sometimes it's a game system. I don't think there's anything bad with a new entry in a series not being similar to the old one, but it just needs to have that little grain of salt that goes with it. Like, they're not distinctly saying this is Paper Mario 3. This is a Paper Mario charactered game.
Sure, but here's the thing. The difference between this analogy you're bringing up is that Kingdom Hearts does, at the very least, have a mainline primary game, 1, 2, and 3. And then there's a bunch of spin-offs to varying importance, some of them being just as important as 1, 2, and 3, but they're not being advertised as 1, 2, and 3. Paper Mario doesn't have that.
No, that's entirely true.
So it's not up to, but it has happened so that the players, the fans, have kind of seen them all as like just an entry in the same series of the same importance.
True, but is that the player and the fans putting their own expectation and that want and need of a numbered direct sequel onto it?
Yeah. I agree. I think that a lot of trouble that series have is that there's a bunch of expectation put on a new entry in a series that, you know, is partially there but is partially not there.
And that's kind of why I am bringing this up to begin with. Like, I'm more making a comment and almost an attack on the expectation itself of, hey, this sounds like a really cool concept, but don't compare this to Super Mario RPG. Don't compare this to Thousand Year Door. This is going to be its own thing. And here is the developers actually coming out and saying, we want to do new things every single time. And I think that's great. I think that should be encouraged. And
I agree with you.
If you want to use the Paper Mario characters for that, by all means, go with it. Because you haven't established a direct line up until this point.
But my thing, though, is that do new things, but like make interesting characters, make visually interesting things, make good mechanic decisions, you know?
Yeah.
Don't, like, critical failure on Sticker Star and Color Splash, and I really enjoyed playing and looking at Color Splash, but critical failure in terms of how battles are handled there. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Like, that's what's so baffling, man. Yeah. Also, don't be like Tetsuya Nomura and walk this series into an open grave. Kingdom Hearts is such a shitfest, man.
Absolutely. So,
moving on.
Yeah.
Also, very brief to talk about is that there will be a Devolver Direct on July 11th. Very soon.
Yes.
So we'll be talking about it again next week, too.
Yeah, it's Saturday, a week after this podcast comes up.
Okay. Devolver, of course, is Devolver Digital. They're going to be announcing new games, gameplay, bunch of news. They're a fantastic publisher.
Yeah. And their directs have always had that very cynical nature to them where they are self-referential on the absurdity of the direct format.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at their announcement image or whatever, and they say, "Hey, Saturday, July 11th, discuss your unrealistic expectations on Discord," and then they link to the Discord there.
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know if it's satire really, but it's sort of like satirizing just the absurdity of fans and the absurdity of what is the video game industry and the weird connection between developers, publishers, PR, and the players. Apparently, a few people missed the joke too, because like the announcement image that you're talking about, it is basically a copy-paste visually of recent Nintendo Directs.
Yeah.
I mean, I say recent, but there hasn't been a recent Nintendo Direct. They do have, Devolver Digital does have a very cynical approach to gaming. Check out their past broadcasts, very chaotic. And even though the humor doesn't all land with me, I just super appreciate that they are doing this kind of thing, having fun. They're the only developer their only publisher that I can think of that's really taking this approach. Yeah.
And I love how they're setting up a weird meta storyline going along with it. Like whoever their CEO is of the company, who comes out, and I think she's a Terminator now, or an AI intelligence. I don't know. It's weird.
There's actually like a story progression happening with their directs. So
it's great.
They did a whole bunch of stuff last year, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to see where this is going. And they have like fictional characters portray whoever it is, like maybe the CEO or whatever, in their presentation. So like Nina Struthers is typically the fictional character that is in their presentations lately.
Yeah. So I will say that, for those of you who are not familiar with works that Devolver Digital publishes, they've been doing Katana Zero, they did Hotline Miami, right?
Oh, that I don't know.
I have to look that up.
They did Enter the Gungeon.
Yep, Enter the Gungeon's one of them. Obviously, with this Direct, they're going to be coming out with new games out there, and we could sit here and be like, what games would you like to see? What sequels? I'm going to broaden that
conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to broaden that out, and I'm going to ask, what style of game would you like to see? Would you like to see them come out with a new roguelike,
No.
A run and gun thing?
No.
All right.
I just want to, I honestly don't care, because they are so good at curating weird or interesting experiences that I'm just like, sure, if it's got Devolver on the brand, then I will definitely look at it and probably give it a shot, just because they publish quality or they publish interesting stuff. Sometimes it's not like that great of a game or whatever, but it's doing an interesting ass thing. One game that I bought but I haven't played it yet is Minute. It's a hideous looking game. It's just black and white. It looks like somewhere between like a Commodore 64 and an original NES.
Okay.
And you play as this little creature, and you're solving like little puzzles and stuff in sort of like a Link's Awakening style top-down world, but you die every 60 seconds. And then you have to go back and start back off where you were doing stuff and like whatever. It's a great gameplay concept.
I've heard of this concept before, actually. There was a game that they came out with before called 1 Minute Hero, and it was basically an RPG. And you were, the kingdom, the big boss is about to cast a spell in 1 minute on the other side of the land, and they're going to completely destroy the earth. You have 1 minute in real time to get over there. And there's RPG battles, there's a leveling system that you have to go through, but it's this weird
Half Minute Hero.
Half Minute Hero, that's the one. Yeah. No, that game is fantastic. And I'm you talking about it, I really hope that this is a play on that format.
Sort of. Those are two pretty different games, but anyway, like the idea here, just shut up when you're talking to me, is that developer, damn it! Devolver publishes some interesting ass stuff, so anything that they're gonna throw I will try and catch it.
With your developer.
Bitch. I also really like Devolver's philosophy as well. Like, a lot of their business initiatives were sparked from like the frustration at the lack of support of small studios or indies or anti-developer publishing practices. I don't know if they still do this, but like, it was really well known before that the games that they would publish, they would still have developers keep the rights to their game. So that's a very pro-developer stance to have, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
And they work with indie teams all over the world. Like, I know specifically they work with Crow Team in Croatia a lot. They're the ones that did the Talus Principle that I talked about a while ago on the show.
Yep.
Teams in the US, Canada, South Africa, Argentina, they're all over the place. It's great.
Yeah.
Giving voices and putting money behind these small projects.
It's excellent.
And I guess since we talked about it just like very briefly, there are rumbling rumors, what else is new, of a Nintendo Direct happening this month.
Oh, really?
Hopefully, you know, I would not be surprised, because given that Nintendo was not like nailed down to, you know, doing an E3 Direct this year, it's very much like them to do something when the others are not doing something, to not get lost in the shuffle kind of thing, which I don't think that they needed to take that approach if that's the approach that they were taking or whatever, but you know, everybody's dying for a Direct, of course. We need to know what's happening in the latter half of the year. That's your big sales year. Also frustrated by the lack of game announcements, but I mean, I'm not one of those people that's like, they have nothing to show, because that's not how you run your business.
Exactly.
That's not how you run your business. This isn't the last year of the Wii U, okay?
Yeah. So we'll see if we get one. I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath, or maybe I will, because pandemic. But
yeah, well, you also might be holding your breath because you're dead from the coronavirus. Moving on to additional DLC.
Nice.
Galen, see, look how fast. Isn't this so nice to just blow through everything? I just
Yeah.
love blowing.
And there's the soundbite.
My additional DLC this week, I got two for you. I got a twofer.
Okay.
One is an excellent video by Design Doc on YouTube, one of my beloved channels. I gotta go through all of his videos. I've seen a lot of them, but this one is called How Can I Stop Hoarding Items in Video Games? And I actually think that's a bad title. This is more about like an exploration of like video game mechanics to prevent the player or to discourage the player from hoarding items. So whether that's smaller item caps like the Shin Megami Tensei series, where like the really strong item... Oh, I just knocked the mic. I'm sorry. It probably sounded terrible. Like the Shin Megami Tensei series, the really powerful items, you know, you can hold a max of 5. So when you can only hold a max of 5, you're incentivized to use them when you get to at least the 4 mark, right?
Yep.
So it's exploring different mechanics and sort of exploring the thoughts that the player themselves has. And as somebody who is guilty AF and loving it, I really enjoyed this video. Highly recommend.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Galen, I swear to God. And my other recommendation is a wonderful article on Polygon by the author Patricia Hernandez. This is called The Last of Us Part 2 Has Become a Minefield. And it's talking about the critical response and how developers, critics, fans are all butting heads over a critically very well received game. Like overall, a very well received game. But it's a very unique atmosphere that video games has right now because it's such a young industry. It's not like movies and critics there. It's really a unique situation here, and I think that Patricia does an excellent job of explaining what's going on. There was one quote in here, I don't want to read it out because it's like such a powerful, strong quote where I was like, yes, this is exactly what is happening. Exactly. That's how I feel. So please do check it out on Polygon.
Absolutely.
Galen, what's your additional DLC?
Well, I've got 2 this week. The first is a YouTube video called How I Can Stop Item Hoarding in Games.
Galen, I believe you are reading my additional DLC.
It's a great little video that discusses various ways on item management throughout video games. And the second is a Polygon article called The Last of Us Part 2. It's become a minefield. I'm sorry. I've been on vacation. I don't have one this week.
Dear listeners,
you know what? Tell you what. I saw the Sonic movie on the plane, right now. So go watch the Sonic movie.
Ew.
You know, I was thinking about it the other day.
I'll go slow away from that.
I was thinking about it the other day. The Sonic movie was a decent movie.
Why are we talking about this?
Because it's my additional DLC.
No, I refuse.
It was a decent movie. I would not pay money for it again to watch it. I would not recommend paying money to watch it a first time. And if it's on a streaming service, yeah, if you've got time to kill, but I think it is a fantastic movie to be forced on a plane to watch, because it is a decent way to kill an hour and a half or something.
Dear listeners, if you think that you can do a better job than Galen can at providing additional DLC on this show, and your head is not foggy with coronavirus,
send your resumes too. Oh yeah, there's going to be a vacancy on the podcast soon.
Yeah, so get your applications in now by sending it to nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com. Let's talk about listener mail.
Yeah. You know, I've been meaning to ask, what is the sound effect that you actually play when we go into listener mail? Like, what is that from?
Oh, it's probably the Yoshi Bwip-boo.
Okay.
Bwip-boo!
No, what's the one where it's like, it sounds like almost like a car crash or like a cash register coming out?
Oh, that's a combination of 2 male sounds from from Majora's Mask and from Wind Waker.
A little bit of episode 87 trivia.
The first sound bit is Majora's Mask when you put a male into the slot, and then the second sound bite is from Wind Waker where the mailbox spits it out at you. That's why it goes like puh.
So you're talking about the postal service, not like males and females.
Flames on the side of my face, man. Once again, Galen, that email address is, can you remember it?
NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com.
Thank you. And if you graced my inbox, you would sound something like this.
This week we have an email from Evan. Hey Evan, how are you doing today?
What up, Evan?
Evan writes in, hey Galen and Oni. It's great listening to you guys because you can really tell you've been friends for a long time.
I've never been friends with this mother... Galen, please continue.
My mom says hi, by the way.
Hi.
It's got me thinking about my friends and when we used to play games when we were younger. When I was a kid, I used to throw banana peels into the street of our subdivision, hoping a car would eventually spin out on them. What are some hilarious or dumb things that video games have made you do? Thanks for writing in, Evan.
Thank you, Evan. Obviously, that was a Mario Kart inspiration.
I thought it was Crash Nitro Racing.
Nobody played that game.
Nobody did.
Actually, lots of people apparently did, but that was a while ago.
Yeah. So, Oni, what stupid video game influences have you had?
I was thinking about this. Probably starting a podcast. really stupid, dumb decision. But also, I very much loved Resident Evil when I was a child, and I still do.
Yeah.
There were these little blocks, and I don't remember what the brand name of them was, but it was almost like Legos, but when you snapped them into each other, they could be pivoted and turned, so you could make some really creative stuff with it.
Okay.
And they were a whole bunch of different shapes, so you could make, like a square, a long thing, or whatever. And I loved those things. I would create so much stuff out of that. I ended up creating guns.
Oh, no.
And, God, I don't even know how old I was when I was doing this. It was right when Resident Evil came out, so, like, it must have been, like, maybe 8, maybe 9. And I created guns, and I had myself some Resident Evil-style guns, and I pretended to be Jill Valentine.
Not Chris Redfield?
No. Jill Valentine all the way.
She is the master of unlocking.
Yes. I would also occasionally walk like they would walk in classic Resident Evil. Which, if you've not seen that, you would walk very, very rigid. And then if you had to turn to the left without moving, you would walk really stupid and turn.
How embarrassing.
Shut up! I didn't make any damn home movies, Galen.
Oh my god.
God.
I forgot about that.
Oh, no, you didn't, because you're about to recount it on this podcast. Why don't you tell me about that, Mr. Embarrassing?
Okay, you were part of this home video, okay?
I was never there.
Oh, man. I remember when I was a kid, you were there, and our other two friends, I had just gotten my first camcorder. And you had introduced me to Resident Evil as well. And
I love to sully the minds of others.
we made a Resident Evil-esque, like, found footage style video. And it had complete of, like, the camera. I had a little Nerf gun that I was using as, like, a real gun in the thing, propped up right behind the camera, and there was, like, heavy breathing. Like, I remember specifically, like, turning the camera around so I can go to where the front microphone was and going, like I was, like, really afraid.
God.
It is so bad.
Oh my God.
And I remember there was no script or anything. It was literally just us running around my house, and we had a basement, and our one friend, I'm just gonna call him Jeremiah. That may or may not be his name. He was the quote-unquote zombie in this, and his whole thing was like, we would find his dead body, we would turn around, he'd run away, we'd turn back, and he'd be gone, but finding his body in different areas. But again, this wasn't scripted. We had no idea where he was actually going to go. So eventually we go down into the basement, and we see him. We go to, like, check on his body. He gets up and does his zombie noises, and, like 28 days later tries to run at me with the camera.
I broke my pen. I'm sorry. Please continue to tell your story. But I'm really sad I broke my pen. It's a really nice pen.
But I just remember not expecting him to do that, so I, like, swing the gun to try to, like, pretend shoot him, but I end up clocking him in the side of the head. And this was all on camera.
Lovely.
Oh, man.
Lovely, wonderful times.
I wonder if I can find that. If I am any place where that footage would still be, I'm at that place right now. So
I think this is a great idea. Is you should find it and then hit it with a hammer.
I'm going to stash it right next to my blackmail of you doing karaoke in Japan last year.
Remember when we could do things?
Be friends.
Well, no, not that. I never remembered that. But, like,
Yeah.
you could go places and you could experience things.
Oh, those were the days.
I'm having a rough go of it at the moment.
when the world opens back up, we should either go to Japan
Will it?
or
Will it ever?
maybe.
Or will we all just die? Bury
Well,
me
I'm
with
go-
my Nintendo!
Give me the Wi-Fi password for my coffin.
It's, Desperate Weirdo. That's the...
Thank you very much for this weird trip down memory lane.
Thank you, Evan.
We're all video game nerds and have memories that are ashamed of.
Yeah. And we just shared one with you, so I hope all of our listeners liked that. That thought is now living rent-free in your brain.
Exactly. Feel free to share your embarrassing video game moments at nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
Please do. We do need emails at nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
Yeah. I can read your embarrassment. I've read
Galen
my
can
own
make it
for
extra
a year.
embarrassing, too. That's his... he gives you a passive buff.
Uh-huh, it's true. I'm the red mage of disappointment.
No! You are the underleveled, regular freelancer job system of not doing anything.
I think that might be a step up from what I just said, so thank you. You're thinking about it.
This is wonderful because his spirit is so crushed right now from doing 87 episodes with me, or 80 whatever episodes. I forgot when you joined. And he undervalues himself so much. It's wonderful. What's coming up? What's coming out on NintendoEverything.com? 24/7 news, that's for sure. Some translations I did talking about. God, what was it? What did I translate? Oh, stuff about Igarashi. Bloodstained. I forgot if I did anything else. I don't know, but lots of other people are doing other stuff there. There's going to be some reviews coming out because some video games are coming out.
Yeah, video games.
Check it out. Stay connected to us. NintendoEverything.com. Also our Twitter, @NinEverything. And then the YouTube, youtube.com/NinEverything. Having a really rough time right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's the end of a short episode today.
That is really nice. And we will probably be back to a little bit longer format next week when there's going to be more news to discuss. But I just broke my pen that I love, and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm so sad.
You are mentally distressed by that pen.
Because I got it from a hyakuen shop in Japan, because you can get the really fine pens so that way you can write kanji, like multiple stroke kanji. And it's so hard to find those pens here in the States. And I just miss traveling anywhere. And I'm having a bit of a waking nightmare at the moment.
I was about to say, it's especially sad because you'll never be able to go to Japan ever again to get yourself another pen because the world is going to explode. Follow me on Twitter @Mobius087, and I also have an Instagram, true_Mobius. Oni, where can people follow your ray of light in this trying time?
You can come join the death throes @Oni_Dino on Twitter, or you can look at the food that I shove into my face after I make it on my Instagram, Oni__Dino. So, world is a Please leave us a rating
that
or
awkward
a
silence in
review. Oh, I will, of course. We will see you next week. Until then, for everything Nintendo.
Stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
Bye.
Later, everyone!